It'd be like that with OBS. Go ahead and
Oh,
share my
good.
screen. Might get a bit winky.
That's fine.
Well, the replay code. I watched it once, but I didn't take notes. So we're just gonna
Yep.
watch it through again. I think there are a couple of times, if I remember, um, a couple of primals that I wanted to look at.
Yeah, I know that my ults weren't the best this game, especially the I guess just I held on for so long because that was one of the things that I was like um uh I was a little bit, at least in that comp, trying to figure out like where to put the ultimate in like the sort of like fight planning macro stuff, like, oh, when do I use primal? But there's like so many overlapping ultimates that I was a bit confused there, I think. Wrong Winston,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, you're good.
I felt like it was a bit fast, and I was just sitting there realizing it was Lucio's speed the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, over. Oh, the FPS is at 7. I have the preview on the other screen. Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Let me look at this one. I'm gonna look at it from the top-down perspective rather than the in-person, first-person view perspective.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. This fight wasn't your fault. I remember you, Lucio, didn't mark the monkey.
Okay.
Lucio didn't mark the monkey. You had to boot that monkey, or else it's just game over. And then, yeah, it's game over. But this fight, I think, if I remember correctly, was it you dropped for the Reaper this fight? Oh, yeah. So you took
Yeah,
the
that
one.
was a major troll. I remember that.
Okay, cool. You took the one with the Reaper, and he was low, but yeah, just I think that was you didn't properly manage the damage that he would do.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't properly expect him to hit one headshot and then be alive.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of fights where I wanted to see more playing off the hack. Oh, this one here. Do you guys have comms for if you're in bubble?
In this map, I'm not 100% sure in that situation. I was just like, I'm gonna touch, but like most of the people weren't in spawn, so I probably shouldn't have even touched. But yeah.
If your team is not there, okay. So one thing is you can still touch and live this ish to give you a better chance. I would say go in even later. Even if you get booped, one of your DPS will be able to help you go in. But then also, when you get bubbled, it's very important that you don't break LOS with your healers. And so, just because you got bubbled here, your Ana could have saved you, or at least gotten a really good anti-nade off if you went out. Here, give me a second. Yeah. But because you're in the bubble, then it puts your entire team back. And so, yeah, it's kind of screwed because, you got to contest the point and they're going to bubble you second. But keep in mind that you kite this way rather than the other way, and it's like, it's more of a habit rather than this one instead. So let's go to the actual next fights. I think this is the fight that you primal, if I remember correctly. Don't let them move the barricade. I watched it like a couple of days ago, so it's not too fresh in my memory.
Okay.
I like the engage on the Lucio. I feel like you guys coordinate it pretty well. Yeah, I'm looking for like major mistakes right now, and then I'll go into like more nuanced things if I'm not seeing anything. Because like right now it's been pretty dry, and most of the big mistakes were being made by like your entire team play rather than you. I feel like it's better if I have the comms to watch what you guys are saying to set up these team fights, because especially is the comm structure in your team, you create the plans?
So this is actually like my first week on this team, so we're kind of feeling a lot of each other out. But yes, most of the time it is me creating fight plans
Okay.
because I'm designated IGL.
Cool.
So if a fight goes wrong, it's my fault. There you go.
Yeah, the one thing that I have to say here, the only like small min-max thing that I would tell you is instead of playing up here, you can still be playing the corner, or no, when you reset, you can still be playing the corner and charging your honest nano.
Okay.
I feel like in the neutral you can do a better job of doing that, but essentially in this team composition, it's very hard for you to balance the feed, because you know you're just playing for a hack and you're just making space for a hack and diving in with your genre. So well, let me look at this death here.
Yeah, it's just overstaying my welcome in final left.
Yeah, playing in the room.
Wait, especially with the Reaper.
Yeah.
And even here, like that's so unnecessary.
Oh no, you go back in. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a pretty Pepega move.
I would agree.
Okay, I think this fight, let me watch it from third person. If I had something to say about this fight, I'm not too sure. If I remember. No, it must be the sun. Yeah, as for the target focusing, I'd love to see you target the Lucio every time you guys EMP. Primarily because if he somehow gets beat afterwards, but more so because Curie will be able to survive longer than Lucio, especially if you don't have both your DPS like ready to be on her.
Yeah, that's a little bit of just unfamiliarity with the matchup, because most of the time I've done mirrors. I haven't really done Somber Tracer versus like Fury Reaper. But yeah, I agree. I definitely think that Lucio is definitely a way more diveable target, especially with hack, than Kiriko.
I feel like this team composition is a bit weird because you guys are like just constantly trading backlines instead of having a brig to fully anchor. It's more so,
yeah.
And then you can't really brawl. It's more playing for a hack and praying that you guys are better at TDMing the backline.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that.
So I feel like most of the space for improvement here and consistency is like in comms with your teammates.
Okay.
Because I can't hear what their comm structure is, but if you guys are playing for hack efficiently, that's the only way you or the prime the primary reason for winning these team fights. The fact that they aren't able to cope with the threats. Yeah, these these fights are playing out like just a bunch of team death. Oh, this EMP also. If I feel like this EMP was a bit risky, but I don't understand why they all grouped in this room and then didn't wait for their Lucio to get beat, because you guys are fully cut off from your Ana, and if they somehow survive this EMP, I mean, it's not that bad, but like, I would much rather see you guys wait until they come out and then do the same thing.
Against a better team.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go through this one more time because first of all, I'm not sharp because it's pretty late at night
Yeah.
as compared to in the morning. But I feel like I'm also missing a ton of stuff right now. Yeah, to be honest, also this isn't this team comp into the enemy's team comp, which they're basically just playing 6-man, and you guys are playing. It's like
CO.
Yeah, it's like Brawl, but we're just like, they're just not playing together and focusing the same target, so it ends up just being like dive TDM. Okay. Or let me ask you, is there anywhere that you thought that you didn't know what to do, or you made like major mistakes, or that the team fight went in a different direction than you wanted it to, and then you didn't know how to pull it?
I think it was more of like a compositional thing where for me it was hard to tell whether like I should be I don't know how to word this, but it just felt really bad when I would like commit onto something like the Lucio or the Kiriko, and then I would use my bubble to commit, and then my backline would get walked over, and then I wouldn't have like a bubble for a counter dive or something like that, I guess, which happened a few times. Like I would commit bubble onto the Lucy Kiri, which I probably shouldn't be, because they just immediately TP out and go to their team, and if we go first, like if we get them before they're on top of my backline, it I don't know how to wrap that up in a nice little bow, but I guess playing into the enemy composition and like having to deal with that like on the fly because I hadn't really done that before.
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess playing to the strengths and weaknesses of the composition.
Okay. I feel like the only in this composition, the way that I'm thinking it out is that the only thing that they have is the 1 ultimate uptime, and then 2 they can dive your Ana. So for example, if the way that I would go about this is putting your Ana up high ground over here, because you guys win in the neutral with hack, and they have to, it's really easy to punish the rotations of the enemies here. So if you force them to like move a great distance before going onto your Ana, they're not going to have enough cooldowns to be able to deal with the counter dive. So
okay,
basically you guys win in the neutral, and if you're able to stall the fight long enough, not really the correct wording, but every single fight, if you put your Ana on a high ground or where you guys want to be and very safe, if they dive in, then you just win the counter dive. Otherwise, you just win the brawl over the long term. And even though they might get Curie Rush first, or they might get Reaper or Tracer Pulse Bomb first, you guys will just eventually like push the cart over and have a better neutral. So if you're on this high ground, you'll be brawling in, and they'll have bridge, and they might try to flank. But then if they flank, they get punished by the hack.
Yeah.
Go to a fight where they try setting up into your back line, but they get punished for it. Yeah, it's weird because I feel like none of these fights ever actually like if you look at this fight, it's so uncoordinated. Like everyone's chasing the Reaper, and then there is no like it's just like a giant TDM. There's like no setup, it just goes straight into like everyone clowning. And then same thing into this next fight where you guys touch. Versus trying to set up and then commit to a good fight with your team. Maybe a lot of tunnel vision from both teams. But then again, that's like how these comps are played with Sombra Tracer. So it's a bit scuffed. This is the one fight that I would say went really well for you guys. Focusing the Lucio. Although I don't think that you needed to primal here. When they rush, especially one concept that I like to preach a lot is you don't have to go fast. As long as the team fight or the game is going in your direction and you have the win, or not the win condition, but have an advantage over them, you don't really need to rush the fights and use your ultimates, because there's always an option where you can use your ultimate later and get even more value. So if you call the disengage here when they use Curie Rush after you killed the Lucio, and then waited for another hack engage, so everyone is already out and you guys are not ready to go in, and then you know it is like the team fight-esque or team deathmatch-esque going just for kills rather than the overall macro in this team composition, but I still think that it's easier to just play for hacks rather than brawl in and get kills.
Yeah, I can see like why I was forced to use primal and on that like early like commit onto the Kiriko when we were 5v4, like. Because I think I just tried to burst her and get the kill, but then she had TP, so just TP'd out, and then I was stuck in their backline, and I just was forced to use it because I made that decision.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is because I'd love to see you playing with your supports more, and it's like we can't really get that if we're all like playing TDM. Then it puts your Ana offline, and then at that point it really brings it like boils the team fights down to like, instead of teamwork, it's like. Or it's still teamwork, but it's more so like, can we kill them faster than they can kill us, rather than controlling any other factors of like the map where you guys are positioning. What ults
I can tell you that
have.
the game definitely felt like that. Who
Yeah.
can kill each other faster?
And I noticed there's a lot of not focusing the same targets in all of the team fights here. And so I feel like for you, because it's hard on this team comp, because this is like how it's supposed to be played, where it's like super team deathmatch, everyone's taking ones. But if you can slow down and try to play for your Ana, and then also just play for the hacks and listen for hacks and set up for the hacks, it might be a bit more consistently easier that way. Like if we look at this team fight here where your Ana's just propped up on the back line, or in the back, or on the high ground in the back line, and then you're able to go in and then just play for the hack. Well, I mean, the Curie kind of fucked up because she didn't even Suzu herself or TP out. But if you guys are just playing for the hack here, and then your Ana gets peeled for, which she did not get peeled for, it would be a bit easier, rather than like you guys could actually just sit here, play safe, and wait for the hack, and then engage with the nano dive, and then guarantee a kill and make sure that your Ana stays alive, rather than or like even better, just sit on cart, and then when they contest, you hack them on cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the nano engage into their team wasn't properly coordinated with your Sombra here.
Okay.
And then even then, if it was ult tracked, oh, you guys didn't have EMP at the start of this fight. Okay, yeah, because the main threat for you guys would either be the Tracer if she tries to off angle or flank, or the Lucio. And so if you can brawl out and not play into the Reaper somehow and still brawl out their monkey and force their cooldowns, it's going to be really hard for them to prevent the hack. Because if you play at mid range, your Sombra and your Tracer are going to be absolutely farming them, and they're not really going to have anything like in response to Nano after all the cooldowns are forced. So I'd say like the next time that you play into this, like if you guys are playing an Ana composition with Sombra and they have a Reaper and Kiri, they're trying to full dive your backline, and so if you literally just wait like 5 seconds and make them use cooldowns before diving in and then play farther back, their dive will never kill. So
you're saying just like chill at mid range for a little bit, like wait, like maybe try and force bubble or wraith or something, and then engage.
Yeah, and I don't want to say like chill, but it's more like keep them in place, because the entire time they're on edge and trying to get onto your Ana. But if you force them to brawl you, because what they're going to do is if you chill, they're going to immediately start the rotate and then get gap close and get closer. But if you somehow get them to brawl, like if you have your Tracer or your Sombra on cart, I would say your Sombra, and then you just come up here, jump up and bubble, or not even jump up, but just like walk to the staircase. You're still in Ana's LOS, and your Ana can just walk backwards, and your Lucio can speed or like boop the initial engage off, speed, and you guys counter dive. And when they don't have their cooldowns, then they have like literally nothing. So they used all their cooldowns to gap close here. So if they didn't kill this Ana right here, like there's zero way they win this team fight. Like this engage right here, if they didn't have bubble because they traded it, and you had a Lucio to boop her out of this, or boop the Winston away, and one of your DPS were marking, you guys would win the neutral immediately after.
Yeah.
So I noticed it's a bit awkward because like this team does die with you guys like still jumping in.
Yeah.
And going very fast.
I imagine that's just misplays on their support line rather than, you know.
Yeah.
Good plays on our end.
There's like a lot of small mistakes that kind of just nullify like maybe like theoretical or like what's supposed to happen. And then I think maybe the setup phase especially is where you guys not excel but have like a I don't know where I was going with this, to be honest.
Like an advantage?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Almost like an advantage, but not exactly an advantage, because you can set up and plan more so for it compared to the enemy team.
Yeah, because they're super, because they have Reapers, so it limits their ability to do that.
Yeah, I probably should have took notes for this VOD review before when I was watching it, because I know for sure I had at least 2 things to think about, but then I forgot them over the like 2 days, because actually I think it was like 3 or 4, because I think I saw it. No, I have no idea when I saw this.
You probably saw it Thursday, because that's when I played it.
Yeah, that.
So
maybe
probably been like
that's
4
what
days.
I'm thinking. Okay, let me look at this next team fight. I just want to see how it plays out and how you could have staged it differently. Because the mid fights are all like scuffed. This is the EMP. They reset. So your Ana is on the high ground. Force the Curie. The monkey matches you.
Catch you later.
And then you EMP them. Okay, one thing that I want to say here is that they can't contest your Sombra at mid-range without forcing like a ton of cooldowns. So if you're in main here, okay, let's say after this engage, and if you're in main applying more pressure, they won't be able to initiate up into your Ana and dive if you're applying that pressure and just holding statically. But like the way I'm seeing it is like if you think about Reinhardt Brawl, when you let them reset and get their cooldowns back, because essentially, to be honest, I would say they're on dive, and because 6-man is supposedly theoretically Brawl, but their win condition here is diving.
Yeah.
But if you treat it like they're still on Brawl, even though they are definitely diving your backline, their win condition will still remain the same, where they need the cooldowns to be able to dive into your Ana, but they have to Brawl into you main. And so if you apply constant pressure and slowly whittle away their resources, and for example, if you're zapping here in main on the robot and forcing the cooldowns, and then instead of
I was just thinking because like if I were to hold the corner there, wouldn't I just get forced out like very easily by the Reaper Winston?
Yes, you would. But if you LOS the Reaper and only shoot the monkey, because they have to round the corner in order to shoot you, and so you're more so like literally just enabling your DPS rather than brawling. So it's kind of, honestly, it's kind of like sitting here and doing nothing. But it's,
yeah. I mean, just hold the space.
Yeah.
Just hold the corner.
It's baiting their cooldowns and more so waiting for them to try to dive, because if you're on it on the counter dive and instead of going in at all, like you can just farm nano. Even if they get Reaper ult, it doesn't really matter, because your nano will completely override the brawl if they have Reaper ult. There's so many ways to shut down Reaper ult compared to Nano Monkey. And so like if you're sitting here and as soon as they start walking, you can jump back. Or as soon as like you're half health, then you LOS, and if they start walking, you guys hack, and if the hack doesn't go through, then you can jump back. But it's more so of like playing for the neutral and waiting for them to make a mistake rather than taking action.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see them in a fight if they ever use like half their cooldowns that they're still able to win. Just because hack is so powerful, you hack one target and it's literally just Discord orb. Yeah, but I think one thing that I'm commonly noticing is that I feel like you guys are very accustomed to playing against other team compositions, for example, like a Ram comp, where you jump their backline and brawl into them. And you guys are like trying to trade their backline in the back rather than playing for the positional slower game. What I would love to see is that you guys were just playing for the map and for the Sombra hack. Because if you catch them out and let them come to you and then hack them on their rotation over to you, it's going to be much easier than trying to go into them. Because then they can, for example, play on high ground and just live. And then it's going to be so much harder for your Sombra to do anything. Versus if you're brawling in and then jumping away, or jumping up to brawl and then you window and then drop. If they extend to try to punish you, then you hack them and they automatically just die. Or given that you don't get immediately bursted and it was a decent engage for you guys, or you're just building nano and then getting closer to your win condition, or not win condition, but getting closer to Nano Monkey, and then you just hack one target and then you can do that full in that you guys were trying to do earlier.
Could you give me an example of a fight that you see in here where it's like you notice that like you're saying you catch them on the rotation? Because like normally when I see like catching them on the rotation, I think of them like literally walking through the choke. But with this, when they're like on a rotation, they're like Do you mean before they use leap, before they use Reaper TP, before they use blinks? Is that what you mean by a rotation, or like as they are coming?
As they are
towards-
coming. Because
Okay,
the point is that they're not at full strength when they do start the rotation. Like, given, let's see, okay, given this fight here, if you guys are playing a little more conservative at this corner, right now with their current cooldowns, their rotation is going to be terrible into your Ana.
Yeah.
Just because they don't have enough cooldowns. And so if you're playing for the nano here, well, given that you guys don't have your ults right now, just in the neutral,
Yes.
then they can't really do anything other than sit on cart and wait for you to and wait for their cooldowns again. But your constant pressure enabling your DPS by standing right here to take these flanks and take the hacks onto them, they literally just won't be able to do anything.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
by saying this, you're since we have the passive advantage, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because they have to play so stacked, we get the map for free because like our Sombra can go on a flank uncontested, the Tracer can go on a flank pretty much. I mean, there's another Tracer, but I mean, like pretty much uncontested. Is that what you mean by like you just sit there and do nothing and like anchor, and then as your team surrounds them, then you like passively win?
Yeah. And it's more so
Okay.
baiting them, because if you do nothing, then they'll just walk. But if you force any cooldowns, then they can't walk at all. Or if they do walk, then you guys will be able to use the map. And the fact that they have to round a choke and have all this open space where your DPS can hack, and they're already set up for it. Yeah, I feel like another common thing, especially, well, maybe that you can or can't control, is that you guys are going really into their backline, and it forces your DPS to like go out of their way to follow up on kills. Maybe not on this side, but like back here in the middle, where your DPS have to go all the way into the enemies and to be able to
Yeah,
set up.
like the nano monkey on the bridge.
Yeah. We're diving, and like it's like a miracle that this Kiriko died. But if she survives, then we're fully out of like resources. We have no neutral afterwards. Like these blinks are going to be used up to get back, or in the fight, and then also to get back. And then like you have no bubble, you have no jump, and there's just like no real target to kill unless you hack the Lucio or maybe the Tracer, but not really.
So, since like I kind of get like the positioning aspect of just like anchoring a corner, like making it really tough for them to push in because like to force those cooldowns. Like if I were to be in this corner and then the Reaper Winston pull up on the corner, and like would that be a good use of bubble to anchor the corner? Because like if I would use my bubble, would that allow me to force Wraith, and then we would eventually win, since we're not exactly diving in this like compositional matchup?
Yeah. You guys still will be diving, just not at the same timing, because if you use the bubble, for example, like under bridge here, or let's say that they didn't dive and use a bubble down here, it keeps the space so your DPS are able to, if they push forward, or if anyone decides to flank, your DPS are ready, versus if you're back here, your DPS no longer are ready to punish the rotation and they rotate in for free. But also they're able to take these hard flanks and look for engages in the sides, versus again over here, if you're just playing this corner or you jump out, or let's say you get forced out and then you jump without bubbling, well, there's too small of a like nuance of a difference.
Yeah.
Or it does matter though, because you spend more time over here trading resources and giving your DPS a window of opportunity. But you can see how over here there's less window of opportunity for your DPS to do anything, and it's just like 3 seconds of downtime for everyone on your team, and then given their 3 seconds of uptime on their dive because of a free rotation. It's kind of hard to explain, but you know what I mean by like over here your DPS have an opportunity to do something compared to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I can't do words right now. I don't know why.
It's okay. You're good.
Let me try to look at another example. Okay, on attack here, on this final point. And maybe you guys do it in overtime. Let me check again. No, you guys are brawling into their backline. So I feel like you guys just really default. I like how you put your Ana positions up here ready to kite. But then you guys are defaulting to trying to get picks in their backline rather than brawl. And against certain team compositions where your win composition is diving the enemies, I feel like it's a bit more... It's better to do that and it'll yield you more consistent results. But against this team especially, and like if you were playing against Reinhardt, it wouldn't make sense for you guys to jump into the backline, right? It would make sense for you to like stay just out of swing range and use all these high grounds and off angles against like a Reaper Mei. And that's like the most extreme example. But if we look at the win conditions of both teams, it's nearly the same, where they're very cooldown based and they have to gap close in order to like do any value. And so you guys going to them is like feeding into their strengths rather than waiting for them to come to you and with like using most of their power that they need for their win condition to just get uptime.
Okay.
And I feel like the most important part out of all of this would be like playing to be ready for your uptime in your win condition, and because it's very easy to like also play the choke and bait out all their cooldowns and then jump out and then do it again and just keep on doing that. But the question is like when do you know to go in on the hack and then convert and switch into that like what you guys are defaulting on, which is go on a target and try to dive and brawl into them and kill them. And the answer I feel like would it be more so on feeling of how many cooldowns that they have, and if you guys can actually secure a kill. Like, you know, for example, here their Lucio is hacked and he's low and he has no cooldowns. I mean, given no one's here, but in a team fight, if no one had cooldowns, it'd be very obvious that if you hack a Lucio, it's very easy to kill him. Versus if you hack a Lucio and everyone has cooldowns, you know, you're not getting... You're just going to get shredded if you go in. And then not have anything to bail yourself out in bubble. Do you have a different replay?
Yeah, I do.
Or,
Let me...
yeah. I just want to see if it's like consistent over multiple.
Where are they? Yeah, this is a relatively new team, so I'm not surprised that everyone's doing whatever the fuck they want to do, and we're running around playing TDM, which is chill, but we're trying. Let me see. Trying to find a good one.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for your Ana in that match, to be honest. Just kind of playing uphill the entire time.
Here's one. So that team pretty much just one-tricked that comp on every single map.
Okay.
So, you will get the same matchup. Like, were you looking for like a different matchup?
No, this is fun.
Okay.
On a different map would be good. Yeah, if you send me a code from the same map, that'd be miraculous. But...
No. 4A 5B. So this is literally like the same matchup, just on Shambhala Monastery instead.
Okay, cool. I'd love to see like how you guys play defense on Shambhala here. Actual Life Weaver?
It was some weird like
Real.
Widowmaker
Oh,
Life Weaver
okay.
shit. Yeah, just for the rollout, just for fun.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are on Ana carry. Okay. So even better, this is where you guys can anchor really, really hard. And there's a lot of discoordination going on, I feel like. The objective of this fight, let me play it in, get to the where you dive the Lucio. Do you guys have an objective when you go in with this hack? I mean, it sounds stupid because it's like shoot the hacked Lucio. But then like...
You mean like what happens after?
Or like, what's your plan with diving in and brawling them up here like this?
I mean, secure a kill and try and get out.
Okay. Is that a realistic plan?
I mean, I think the securing the kill part is realistic. I don't really think the getting out part is very realistic.
Okay. I think it's really, really hard to argue that, like, getting a kill brawling into, like, doing it just to hack dive into them like this when they have full resources is realistic.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe if you guys waited, like, 10 seconds into this, or did one jump up and brawl in, and then go in a second time rather than expect to get a kill on the first initiation, it would have been way better. Because I feel like you go like really, really hard on that first jump, and instead of resetting and just playing a bit slower and living, you guys are like really trying to
like
force the
double
kill.
down.
Yeah. Yeah, where it's like when you get out here, it's much more consistent, and then boom, if you're ready to set up here and do that exact same engage, they won't be able to, you're basically controlling tempo to the point where they aren't able to go in at all. What in the lack of target focusing from the enemy team?
Yeah, they that was a 3.9K team that only played one comp and did not know how to shoot a single target. So I don't know.
I feel like yeah, especially like in scrims, it's hard to measure skill because Overwatch 2 values a lot more micro than macro. And so there will be a lot of comp players who can just aim really well but have no idea how to play with a team. So scrims turn into team deathmatch much more often. Versus like in Overwatch 1, it would be only like higher GM players who well, it would be like filtered out all those players and they would be stuck in like plat.
Yeah, because I definitely play way more scrim than I do ranked because I just enjoy it more. I find it more fun.
I definitely agree. I feel like it's hard to play to improve consistently in ranked because there's so many uncontrollable factors.
This is just kind of like a 3-minute long fight.
Yeah. See, the thing though is it's good for you guys if you brawl out this long.
Yeah, because we'll eventually, because path advantage, we'll win. We have Ana, so we have Ana Kiri.
Yeah, as long as you keep the Reaper away, or keep the Reaper's uptime as small as possible, then it's really good for you guys. Yeah, Sombra is really strong right now. Honestly, I think it's kind of map dependent, but.
So when you were talking about positioning before the fight, could you go back to where I was in the window? And could you sort of talk about how I could have played that differently? Like right here.
This one?
While I'm here. So like rather than like staying on low ground and like trying to do this like weird, like really bad EMP, could you sort of like walk through a fight plan that I could have used instead and like where I could have positioned as well? Like more importantly, like what I could have done myself in this fight.
Yeah, so instead of waiting or going for the EMP, because you know that their win condition is going to be diving their backline. So if you shut down their win condition and then your win condition is the hack, it wouldn't make sense to go in and dive the most logical thing would be kill the Lucio off the hack. And then I feel like we just didn't think one step ahead and realize that they would be diving onto the enemies. Because you guys do kill the Lucio off the solo EMP? Or do you kill him? I'm pretty sure that you...
I think we do, yes.
I wasn't
I
really
think
paying
so.
attention, but
Oh, eventually, I think.
yeah.
No, we do not
You
kill
do
him
win
off
the
the
team
EMP.
fight
We do
eventually.
not. Yes, we do not kill him off the EMP. No.
Yeah, but if you waited here and played patiently, they have to contest on cart, so you either hack whoever's on cart, or if they do something stupid like this, because now they're on your backline with 0 cooldowns, it's pretty free. Like, if you're balling this tracer, you force recall, you immediately force Wraith because he's antied. And then it's not like you're trading any value from what you were doing over there. Maybe the potential Lucio kill, but even better, if the Lucio tries to go in with the enemy team here, he's even more dead.
Yeah.
So
would you say, so like positioning wise, before that fight, when I was on low ground, would you have preferred me to be in the window, like stuffing?
not on this one. Just the only reason why is because your DPS can't be with you. Like, they can't be ready. Yeah, on the other map where it makes sense to be in the chokehold because your DPS will have uptime from it. There's no uptime from your DPS, so you're kind of like 1v5ing here. Maybe if you're charging support ults, but more so I want you to like cut the rotation here. And how they get a free rotation into your backline. Not so that you have to stop it, but the fact of the matter is that like they're completely out of everything once they do this rotation. So if you're here to punish them immediately, it's a bit better. And like if your supports survived here in this fight, it would be a lot easier for you guys.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that my positioning was fine being on that low ground, like expecting them all to come out, but rather than trying to force an early dive, like trying to like go in, like do like a rushed rotation, like I should just literally just sit on low ground, see, oh, everyone jumps my Ana, and then just immediately counter dive?
Yeah. Force them to go in, or bait them to go in, whichever one you want to think about it as, and then punish them for their rotation. Even better, the best thing is that they never go in because they have to contest cart, and they're going to contest cart either 1 by 1 or dive the cart, which is even worse. And then you'll just slowly hack them to death. Or not even slowly, you kind of just hack them and they die. Near instantly, because your supports are just always online. And then if you guys shred bubble every single time, it shouldn't be a problem at all with the Reaper. Okay. Just want to see a team fight where if you guys actually ever do that. You guys don't win that team fight? Okay, I wonder what happened. Probably like a micro thing. Here, let me just go to defense to see if you guys are still diving into their backline.
The answer may shock you.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Yeah, see the thing though is it's working, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because it's like that shouldn't happen. That if you guys are trying to dive into them, even if you get a hack, it should be like very, very, very punishable. Because it cuts you off from your supports, and then let's go back to where you actually dive them. It cuts you off from your supports, or at least the bubble does, and they should be able to shred you with that Reaper really, really quickly. But it's just not happening.
Because like the Reaper turns on me, but then he doesn't go with his team. So like.
Oh,
it's like a 2v2.
They try to trade backlines when. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Like if their monkey just cut them off, and then it was a 4v3 in your their backline, that could have been really bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, the tricky thing is if you're playing against a really good team, they'll find a way to stage and then dive in. So if you're staying on cart, yeah, for example, they'll go onto the right side here. And then you have to read the rotation. Oh, that's a spot and a half. I didn't even know about that. Yeah, you have to read the rotation and meet them before they get to your backline, or start to stage into their backline.
Yeah. So, like that in concept was good, but I used bubble and I was 1v5ing. But like if instead of being on the weird ass satellite and like jumping in 1v5 and like like if I just like literally just held the corner,
Yeah.
like a normal tank.
That and
Like-
even
like
better,
being right here.
if you save your jump to get out, like right here, if you just get out, like right here, as soon as you drop to like 300, if you just get out, you guys will be able to kite out farther, and they never win when they're out in this courtyard after they push out, unless they have speed, which I'm assuming that they don't have speed. Yeah, because they had to use speed to get to this point and push through, or amp heal your Tesla cannon, your like huge cleave on 5 people. Then there's absolutely no way that they should be able to push your supports and you without your DPS at least killing one. So
Okay.
maybe a bit of trust in the process that you guys will be able to survive. And then if you don't survive, then you can yell at your supports, because they're supposed to and be able to kite away when you start losing your health and need to jump out. Going into another team fight. Okay, let's get to one where you guys are fully regrouped. Are you still diving cart? Yeah, okay. Talking about ult usage into this team comp, especially, unless you have EMP, I feel like don't ult first, or don't ult before they use their cooldowns. That's what I mean. You can still set the tempo, just make sure that they don't have full cooldowns and immediately dive your supports as soon as you ult, because then it doesn't really put their win condition offline. Yeah, this is an example of like you didn't really like kite them, or your supports kited them, but you didn't really it's an example of just like how living will be able to make you guys win this. Where's that team fight?
Systems hacked.
Living over the long run. That's what I mean. Rather than trying to dive and get a kill. And then into the last fight here.
Apagando las luces.
Yeah, also keep in mind, if you have EMP and if you have Nano, there's zero way that this enemy team survives it. Okay, yeah, and then this team fight, it's literally just a matter of you guys keep your supports up and you just keep on hacking them and they're not able to kill. Like, literally if they don't kill your supports, just... I mean, even though they killed your Ana, they spent all of their resources doing it. There's just... the hack uptime is too much for them. Yeah, do you have any questions? I feel like, yeah, this was not a good VOD review from me, to be honest.
That's fine. I think I liked how, at least I took away from it that, you know, more of like recognizing the strengths of the composition, but like that's a sort of thing that happens after rather than like mid game, you know. Like knowing that it exists and then like acting on it are like two completely different things. So it's like, I guess I would want to find a way to like apply this sort of this, like, you know, this is the passive advantage, like this is how we win, into like this comp and also like comps that are similar to it, I guess I would say.
Yeah, when you're in game, the number one thing I do is okay, so first of all, now that you know how to play the comp, like if you ever see this exact 6-man comp again, I would say like the Kiri is interchangeable with Mora, and then the Reaper, or the Tracer would be interchangeable with like a Sojourn or a Cassidy, or a Sombra. Most commonly Sombra. It would be Reaper, Sombra, Mora, Lucio, Monkey. That's like classic, or 5-man now in Overwatch 1 and 6-man. But then you know how to play the overall like macro, you know, play for the neutral. But if you're in game and you don't know, the first round is the hardest because you don't have the time to think. But especially if you're in a scrim, just sit down and wait like 3 minutes and realize their win condition, and then look at your win condition, and it'll become way more obvious because your win condition is to hack them, and their win condition is their like dive brawl. And so if they run out of resources, then you guys are better in the neutral, and I feel like that part, understanding like you guys are better in the neutral, just kind of comes with experience. But
Mhm.
as long as you realize your win condition, and then you'll eventually get there, and you'll be like, okay, they're just diving us every single time. Why aren't we getting our win condition to win? Like what do we need to do to get there? And it'll apply on other team comps too. But yeah, the win conditions are the best. Or if you can even like, as soon as they come out, as soon as they scout, I heavily emphasize like memorizing every team composition's win condition. And that way you're like more versed and you're more like you don't have to think about it. And when a new team comp comes out, you already have like all the iterations of like what it could possibly be. So that way you don't have to think about it. It's more of like a memorization thing and like muscle memory. Yeah. So optimally, what I do with my team is like you scout, and as soon as you hear the heroes, you immediately know like you're prepped and ready with your team on like it should already be a given what your win condition is. And then as soon as you realize theirs, it's more of thinking about how you have to change your playstyle to enable it.
Okay, so I would roll out and then I see 6-man. And
Mm.
so I say, okay, I need to anchor corners and counter dive.
Yeah. Especially for comms though, because your teammates don't really care about that. It's hard to like communicate to them what you want to do. But if you say like my team, I teach like specific, for example, like play slow or play for the neutral or build ults. Rather than saying play fast or play explosive or look to dive.
Yes.
So thinking about just like the overall image for your teammates will help you, especially because it's like a small difference, but if your entire team is together, it'll feel so much better.
Okay. I guess it's been sort of like very, very like macro focused.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm sort of trying to tie it back into like my personal positioning and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any like consistent themes with like my micro that you have seen that there's some issues, like whether it's like indecisiveness, like going too early, staying in too long, something like that, I guess?
Yeah. I feel like the ones that you mentioned were pretty good. But more so, I feel like you have a habit of like fucking around and finding out. You know what I mean? Because it's like you know that you shouldn't be here, or that your time here wasn't a calculated like what is a purposeful decision in play to do exactly something. And so you kind of just sit there because they're letting you sit there, and then only sometimes do they actually punish you for doing that. For example, like when you were shooting that Reaper on the last map and he was very low, like I can tell in your mind that you kind of hesitated because you're like, I shouldn't be here, even though I can get the kill. And then in the end, you just continue to hesitate rather than just purposefully making up your mind and getting out. And then there's a couple of team fights, like when you got low back here, I can tell like in your body language. What was it when you were defending on that one corner and that we were talking about that you needed to jump back?
Yeah, are you talking about like the goofy
the satellite thing.
Satellite thing?
Yeah. Right there. You were thinking like, because I feel like you know what to do based off of your body language. Where you get to the corner, and then you look backwards. I distinctly remember you looking backwards to assess the team fight when you were like 300 health, and then you went back in and got bionated. So I guess having more control and awareness will also help with that, as well as just properly assessing threats, and it'll come with a muscle memory, because that's the hard part about micro.
Yeah.
I feel like playing corners also is one on your micro, or deliberately playing corners.
Yeah.
And using the map to your advantage rather than playing out in the open would be another one. Because I notice a lot of good Winston players will, for example, like when you're playing the choke, you'll deliberately play around the corners, and if they're not peeking, it's either that you're going in or you're just like not peeking.
I guess like discipline.
Yeah. Not even discipline, because it shouldn't be like you should be like over that. You know what I mean? Over having to like restrain yourself from not peeking. It should just.
Oh well, I guess I'm not saying like I guess, but people take discipline in different ways. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
I mean, more like I am doing this. I guess it would be like purposeful rather than like discipline, because it's like I am
Mhm.
turning the corner for this specific reason. I am not turning the corner for this specific reason. Probably would be a better example,
Yeah,
or like a
yeah.
better way to describe it.
Yeah, I think you get it.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any other questions?
Um. hmm, Uh, I don't think so at this moment.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like in a future time, if you ever scrim against a different team composition or a variation or this one again, then you get your team on the same page because that's pretty important too. Because if you're playing, if you adapt your play style but your team isn't doing it, it's really easy to fall into the like just don't say anything because your team's just not willing to like change their
Hmm.
play style. So yeah, if you or first of all prevent that by talking to them beforehand and they know like the win condition and effectively communicate that um and then play another game, feel free to send me the code because I'm curious how like you guys overcome this, like it's almost like a skill barrier of playing for the win conditions.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, like this was like my first scrim like after the trials.
Mm.
So, um, yeah, I will definitely try and like communicate that with people and talk about it. So,
Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, good luck. The initial first parts of a first times for a team are very hard, like the first couple of months.
hmm, yeah, I've scrimmed in like teams like I'm on a my school team,
Mm.
which I'm not gonna say collegiate because collegiate has a very different meaning to people who
Mm.
actually are in Overwatch space. It's just a cobbled together group of people for our like for our like weird division with different universities. And
Those are the
yeah,
fun ones.
that was an experience. It was fun, but it was very frustrating because we
Yeah.
had averages from GM to like gold.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the shit that
Yeah.
happens in collegiate.
Yeah, on the bright side, Scrim should feel a bit more consistent because you know if you're, it's hard to improve if the entire game just feels like a giant gamble.
Yeah, I definitely like when you're playing Brawl and the Mei is not stacking on you as the tank and you're not shooting the same targets. It's like you're flanking, okay?
Yeah,
Like I would literally have games where my Mei would be flanking. And it's like, okay, I guess that's too bad.
yeah. All right.
Uh,
Well, yeah. If you can, just post the code or DM me again in this Philo server, and hopefully I can get to it.
okay. Yeah, I'll see about